The galaxy had known peace for centuries, or at least that was what the Council liked to tell itself. Across the stars, thousands of species traded, allied, and schemed under the watchful eye of the Galactic Council, but far from their shining core worlds, on a small blue planet at the edge of a forgotten spiral arm, humanity was silent, not weak, not defeated, just waiting. After the last galactic war, the Council had forced Earth to disarm, to surrender its fleets, and to sign the Pact of Submission. Humanity had agreed, smiling, their leaders signing with calm faces, their soldiers standing proud even in defeat. But behind closed doors, Earth never forgot the humiliation. They rebuilt quietly, out of sight, deeper and smarter than anyone imagined. Captain Mira Solon stood on the observation deck of the Terran Station Sentinel Prime, her eyes fixed on the stars. "Do you ever wonder if they'll come back?" a young officer asked beside her. Mira smiled faintly. "They will," she said, "and when they do, they'll remember what happens when you push humanity too far." The Galactic Council's fleets were growing restless again. Rumors spread that Earth was hiding something powerful. Probes disappeared near human space, traders vanished, and yet the humans said nothing. The silence frightened them more than any weapon ever could. At the council chamber on the capital world Varela, the High Chancellor slammed his fist on the table. "Enough of this arrogance," he shouted. "The Terrans refuse to answer our envoys. They think themselves untouchable." Admiral Jal of the Drakari hissed, "We should strike now, before their defiance spreads." But the oldest member of the council, Elder Themnor of the Vesh, shook his head slowly. "No one strikes Earth without cause," he said, his scaled fingers trembling. "Not after what happened last time. That was the thing about humanity. Everyone remembered their wars, their fury, their refusal to die. The humans had given a warning once, 2 centuries ago. Do not come to our world in chains or in arrogance. Respect us or face us." The council had laughed then. They weren't laughing now. In the dark void beyond the edge of known space, something massive stirred, a shadow of steel and light. The Terran Fleet, reborn in secret, hidden shipyards under Europa's ice, colonies deep in the Kuiper Belt, 1,000,000 silent workers building what the galaxy believed was forbidden. Mira received a coded message that night. Phase 1 authorized, it read. Her heart pounded. After decades of patience, the plan had begun. Humanity's warning had been ignored long enough. Now, the galaxy would learn the price of arrogance. The stars shimmered outside the viewport as the fleet awakened. Engines hummed like thunder across the void. And somewhere, across 1,000 light-years, the Council debated peace, while humanity prepared for war. The reckoning had begun. The galaxy still believed humanity was quiet, rebuilding farms and research stations, pretending to be harmless. But under that silence, a storm was forming, one so powerful that no empire, no fleet, no council could contain it. On the hidden moon base Argos 9, thousands of Terran ships waited in shadow. Every hull gleamed with black armor, every engine whispered power. The emblem of Earth, a burning blue world surrounded by silver wings, glowed on every ship's side, and at the center of it all stood Admiral Elias Kael, the man who had rebuilt humanity's might from ashes. "Are the fleets ready?" he asked in a calm, low voice. "Yes, sir," replied Captain Mira Solon. "All squadrons standing by. We only await your command." Kael nodded slowly, staring at the holographic display of the galactic core. Dozens of species, hundreds of fleets, all arrogant enough to believe humanity had forgotten. "Then it begins," Kael said. "Send the message to the Council. One final warning." Across the void at the shining capital of Varela Prime, the Galactic Council received the transmission. The room fell silent as a holographic image of Admiral Kael appeared. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "You were warned once, and you chose to laugh," he said. "You spoke of peace while building weapons pointed at our home. You violated every treaty you forced upon us. You thought Earth would kneel forever. You were wrong." Then the signal cut, replaced by coordinates, an old mining world called Thalros 4. The Council sent a fleet of 80 ships to investigate. They expected to find a hidden base or perhaps a decoy. What they found instead was death. When the Council fleet exited warp, the system was quiet. No response, no defense grid, only a dead planet and drifting asteroids. Then the space between the asteroids shimmered. Dozens of black ships uncloaked, silent as ghosts. Humanity had been waiting. "Engage," Mira whispered, and the stars exploded. Blue plasma lit the void. Railguns fired with precision no alien ship could match. The first Galactic Fleet was erased in less than 6 minutes. Their distress call never reached home. Back on Varela, the Council erupted in panic. "How is this possible?" shouted one senator. "Earth has no fleets, no shipyards." Elder Themner closed his eyes, his ancient voice trembling. "They hid them," he said. "They rebuilt where we could not see. We forgot what humans are capable of." But humanity wasn't finished. Within hours, more fleets vanished near the Terran borders. Every system that had spied on Earth went dark, and in every destroyed ship's wreckage, one message remained, burned into the metal. "We warned you." Meanwhile, aboard Sentinel Prime, Mira watched the battle reports with cold eyes. For her, this wasn't revenge. It was justice. "They called us savages," she murmured. "Now they'll remember why they feared us." Admiral Kale stood before the fleet's great banner, the stars reflected in his eyes as he whispered the final order. "Phase 2, he said. "Target their strongholds, their communication hubs, their pride." The Terran fleet moved like a storm unleashed, invisible, unstoppable, a ghost from the edge of the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council faced something it couldn't control. Not a rebellion, not a negotiation, but humanity united, patient, furious, and done with mercy. The galaxy had ignored the warning. Now came the reckoning. Part 3, the fall of the Council. The galaxy trembled. Every communication hub, every trade route, every border world whispered the same word. Earth. What began as rumors of a rogue Terran fleet had turned into a nightmare. Entire systems went silent overnight. No wreckage, no survivors, only static across the stars. At the Galactic Council Hall on Varela Prime, panic had replaced diplomacy. Ambassadors shouted over each other, alien voices rising like thunder. "The Terrans have destroyed our fleets," one cried. "They are advancing toward the core systems," another screamed. But the High Chancellor could only stare at the holomap before him, red lights blinking where proud fleets had once stood, now erased. "Impossible," he muttered. "They cannot have built this alone." But they had. In the shadows of exile, in forgotten corners of the solar system, humanity had built a war machine that defied logic. Silent factories under ice, orbital shipyards, hidden inside gas giants, generations of humans born and raised to build in secret, to fight in silence. Admiral Kale stood aboard the Dauntless, the flagship of the Terran Fleet. Before him, the holographic image of the galaxy burned in crimson. "The Council still refuses to surrender," Mira reported, her tone sharp. "They call us terrorists, Kale's eyes narrowed. "Then let them see what terror really means." Moments later, 1,000 Terran warships slipped through the void, invisible until it was too late. Their weapons ignited the darkness like dawn breaking across the stars. The first to fall was Carthon Prime, the Council's shipyard world, its defensive satellites shattered before they could even target. Within minutes, the entire system was engulfed in fire. The transmissions ended with one human phrase: "You were warned." Back on Varela, the Council's unity crumbled. The Drakari demanded war. The Vesh pleaded for peace. The Klin accused the Council of betrayal, and amid the chaos, one desperate senator shouted, "Find their leader! Find this Kale! Negotiate before it's too late!" But it was already too late. Humanity's fleets had encircled the capital systems, cutting trade, power, and communication. The galaxy that once ruled over Earth now found itself surrounded and powerless. Mira watched from her command bridge as Council ships tried to flee. "Do we engage?" asked her officer. She hesitated, her heart heavy. "They never listened," she said quietly. "Now the galaxy listens to silence." Then came the broadcast. Admiral Kale appeared again, his expression calm, his voice colder than space itself. "For centuries you called us savages, tools, soldiers for your empires. You took our worlds, our freedom, our pride. You told us to stay down. But humanity does not kneel. You were given one warning, one chance, and you spat on it. Now, your age is over." His message echoed across every world before the signal cut to black. The galaxy held its breath. The council collapsed that same night. Leaders fled, planets revolted, fleets surrendered. The once mighty empire that had ruled 1,000 species fell, not to monsters, not to chaos, but to the people they thought could never rise again. And above the ruins of the council's capital, human banners shimmered in orbit, a simple emblem, a blue earth surrounded by silver stars. The age of humanity had begun. E.T.P. But deep within the Terran command ship, Admiral Kale looked uneasy, because he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would not surrender quietly, and humanity's reckoning had only just started. The ashes of the Galactic Council still floated through space. Worlds once proud now burned, their fleets shattered, their rulers gone. For a moment it seemed as if humanity had done the impossible. They had broken the galaxy, but the stars are never silent for long. From the dark edges of the Orion Rim came whispers. Whispers of survivors, of warlords, of alien powers rebuilding in the shadows. They called themselves the Coalition of the Last Dawn, and they had only one purpose: to end humanity before dawn ever rose again. Admiral Kale stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, his eyes fixed on the shifting holographic stars. "The galaxy moves faster than fear," he murmured. "They will come together, and when they do, they will strike as one." Captain Mira Solon stood beside him, arms crossed. "Then we'll break them again," she said. But her voice lacked its usual fire. Kale looked at her, the weight of victory turning into the burden of command. "We've become the empire we once hated," he said softly. She didn't answer, because deep down, she knew he was right. Across the void, in the ruins of Varela Prime, the alien survivors met in secret. Drakari generals, Vesh engineers, and Klin scientists gathered around a single glowing device. It pulsed with a strange blue light, alive, breathing, ancient. "This," hissed Admiral Jal of the Drakari, "is what the humans fear most." The Vesh elder adjusted his translator, his voice trembling. "It was found in the core of a dead star, the last weapon of the old gods. They called it the Oblivion Engine, a device so powerful that it could erase entire systems, turning matter to silence. If humanity wishes to bring reckoning," Jal said, his eyes burning with hatred, "then let us show them what true extinction looks like." Back aboard Sentinel Prime, strange readings began to appear on the Terran deep space sensors. Unstable gravitational distortions, waves of dark energy unlike anything known. At first, they thought it was a dying star collapsing. But when the second and third wave struck human colonies, the truth became clear. Someone was testing a weapon. Kale called an emergency council aboard the Dauntless. His voice was steady, but his eyes betrayed concern. "They've found something ancient," he said. "Something older than all of us." Mira leaned forward. "Do we know where?" Kale nodded. "Outer Orion, the same region where our fleets first fought the council." She frowned. "It's a message." "Yes," Kale replied quietly. "Their answer to our warning." Within hours, humanity's fleets mobilized. 1,000 ships darkened the stars, each one carrying the mark of Earth, each one carrying the promise of vengeance and survival. The Coalition's trap was already set. Hidden minefields, cloaked ships, and gravity wells designed to cripple even the Terran warships. When Kale's fleet arrived, the stars lit with betrayal. Missiles screamed through the void. Explosions rippled across the dark. The first Terran line was cut apart in minutes. Kale's command ship trembled under impact. Alarms blaring across the bridge. "Shields failing," Mira shouted. "They knew we were coming." Kale's eyes narrowed. "Then we show them what it means to face humanity." He turned to his crew, his voice a calm storm. "Activate the Ragnarok Protocol." For a moment no one spoke. The Ragnarok Protocol was forbidden, a weapon of last resort, a fusion of human science and something darker, something alien. Mira's eyes widened. "Sir, if we fire that, it could tear the system apart." Kale looked out into the void. "They wanted extinction," he said coldly. "Let's show them how close they've come." The stars flared white, every Terran ship powered up in unison, their cores humming with light. Then, in a burst that had shattered time and gravity, the human fleet vanished, warping not away, but through the battle, reappearing behind enemy lines. The Coalition never had a chance. Their ambush turned to panic, their ships tearing apart under the human counterattack. In less than 20 minutes, the trap became a massacre. But as the smoke cleared, Mira's sensors picked up something far worse. A massive energy spike beyond anything recorded, and then she saw it, the Oblivion engine awakening, a blue star igniting in the void, a weapon that could erase existence itself. Kale's heart went cold. The true reckoning had just begun. The stars turned blue. Every sensor across the Terran Fleet screamed warning signs. Energy levels beyond physics itself surged from the center of the Orion Rim. And in that light, Admiral Kale saw it. A shape, vast and ancient, a weapon that should never have existed. The Oblivion engine. It hung in space like a living star, pulsing with veins of electric fire. Its surface was not metal, but something older, grown, alive, whispering through space itself. Mira stared at the display, her voice a whisper. It's not a weapon built by them. It's something they found. Kale's jaw tightened. Then they woke something they don't understand. The first wave hit, a surge of energy tore through the nearest Terran ships. Their hulls disintegrated without heat, without sound, simply erased from reality. Hundreds of lives vanished in a single flash. Kale gripped the command rail, eyes fixed on the burning light. Retreat the outer fleet. Pull them back now. But it was too late. The Oblivion engine pulsed again, and the stars themselves seemed to flicker. Gravity twisted, light bent, and the void howled. It wasn't just destroying ships, it was consuming space itself. Then through the chaos, a voice broke through the static. An old man's voice, calm, human. This is Dr. Aaron Solis. To any Terran command, do not engage the device. I repeat, do not engage. Kale's head snapped up. Aaron Solis, he whispered. That name had been erased from every Terran record 50 years ago. The man who designed the first warp core and vanished. Mira's eyes widened. He's alive? Kale's voice hardened. Patch him through. The old scientist appeared in hologram, his face illuminated by the strange blue light of the weapon. I told them not to use it, Solis said softly. It was never meant to be controlled. It's not technology, Admiral, it's alive. Kale frowned. Alive? What are you saying? Solis's voice broke. That thing was not made by any species we know, not even by the old gods. It is one of them. Silence fell across the bridge. Mira whispered, one of the old gods? Solis nodded. You call it a weapon, but it's something older. A being that devours civilizations and feeds on their energy. The Council found it dormant inside a dying star centuries ago. They tried to harness it, and when they failed, they buried it. Now the Coalition has awakened it again. Kale clenched his fists. And now it's coming for all of us. The view outside the ship changed. The blue glow was spreading across the void like a living tide. It moved with purpose, slowly expanding toward both fleets. Human and alien ships alike were swallowed by it, their matter dissolving into light. Mira's voice shook. Sir, what do we do? Kale closed his eyes for a moment, his mind racing. If it's alive, maybe it can think. Maybe it can listen. Solis shook his head. It doesn't think, Admiral. It remembers. It remembers everything it consumes. Kale's eyes narrowed. Then it remembers war. The human fleet turned, forming a defensive circle around the surviving colonies. Every weapon aimed at the spreading void, but Kale hesitated. He could destroy the Coalition's ships easily. But that thing, that entity, was beyond destruction. Mira stepped forward. If we can't kill it, what if we trap it? Kale turned. Sharply, how? The old warp fields, she said. If we overload the drive cores and collapse space around it, maybe we can lock it where it stands. Solis's hologram flickered. It could work, but it will cost you every ship you send. Kyle didn't blink. Then humanity will do what we've always done. He turned to his fleet. Stand and fight. The order went out. Every ship's engines burned brighter than ever before. Terran warships formed a wall of light around the creature, charging their warp cores to the brink of destruction. The Oblivion engine reacted, its blue tendrils lashing out, consuming hundreds. Yet the humans held their line, Mira whispered. No one ever believed we'd die for others. Kale replied quietly. We don't die for others. We fight for the living. The sky erupted. The warp cores detonated as one, folding space in on itself. A ring of light expanded. And the creature screamed, not through sound but through every mind that could hear. The galaxy trembled as the void snapped shut. Then, silence. The Oblivion engine was gone, half the Terran fleet with it, only echoes remained. And a single ship drifting through the wreckage. Mira's voice came through the static, weak but steady. "Admiral, we did it." Kale looked at the empty stars. "No," he said softly, "we've only delayed it." Because deep in the void where the creature had been trapped, something still pulsed, faint, slow, waiting, and far away in the ruins of the Coalition, a signal began to rise again. A whisper in the darkness. The old gods remember. The stars no longer looked the same. Where once shone steady light now flickered faintly, as if the heavens themselves were holding their breath. For weeks after the battle, the galaxy believed the danger was over. The Oblivion engine was gone. Humanity had paid in fire and silence, and peace returned, or so everyone told themselves. So Admiral Kale drifted in low orbit above the fractured moon of Varela, half his fleet gone, half his heart with it. He watched the broken planets below and whispered, "Victory always costs more than defeat." Mira Solon, her arm bandaged and her eyes hollow, approached slowly. "Survivors from the Coalition are asking for negotiations," she said. Kale nodded once. "We'll listen." But before the diplomats could speak, a strange pulse rippled through space. Invisible to the eye but heavy enough to shake every sensor from the core to the rim, it came not from the ruins of the engine, but from somewhere deeper, beyond the mapped stars, beyond known space. Dr. Solus re-established contact from his hidden research vessel, his face pale, his voice trembling. "Admiral, I found it," he said. "The source of the pulse isn't a weapon, it's a call." KL frowned. "A call to whom?" Solus stared into the screen, to its kind. A cold silence filled the bridge. The Oblivion engine had not died. It had signaled, and something ancient had heard. Across the edges of the galaxy, dead systems began to awaken. Stars dimmed unnaturally. Planets went dark. In the black between galaxies, titanic shadows moved, each one larger than worlds, each one alive. Mira's voice cracked. "How many are there?" Solus whispered. "At least 3, maybe more." The galaxy's surviving species turned to humanity, the same species they once enslaved and mocked. Because only humanity had faced the old god once and lived, Kale received transmissions from alien leaders begging for protection. It was almost ironic. Their fear of humanity had turned into faith. Kale stood before his remaining commanders. Around him, holograms of every surviving world shimmered in blue light. "We have 2 choices," he said. "We run and the galaxy dies. Or we fight again, and maybe, just maybe, someone remembers that we tried." No one argued. They were too tired to fear, too human to surrender. Project Phoenix was born that night, hidden stat arrogance. Ions reignited across the solar system, Mars, Europa, Titan, each one building weapons that bent the laws of physics, fusion lances, graviton shields, planetary cannons. Every factory burned with the same message written on its walls. "We warned you once." Weeks later, as the first old god entered known space, its body swallowed the light of 3 suns. Its surface rippled like oceans of shadow. It didn't speak. It remembered. The memories of billions of lives it had consumed filled the void with whispers. Every fleet that approached disintegrated, every weapon turned to dust before contact. Mira stared at the monstrous shape and whispered, "How do you fight a memory?" KL replied quietly, "By giving it something new to remember." The Terran Fleet activated the Phoenix Array. 12 stations linked through folded space. A weapon not of destruction but of reflection. When the old god's energy struck, the array caught it, twisted it, sent it back tenfold. For the first time in eternity, the creature screamed. Stars shattered, the void rippled. Half the galaxy saw the flash and thought a new sun had been born. But victory came with a price again. Half the array collapsed. Solus's ship was gone. Mira's signal faded. Kale alone remained to watch the retreat of the shadow. The creature drifted backward, wounded but not gone, and before it vanished into the abyss, it left a single phrase inside Kale's mind. Not words, not sound, just understanding. You are not what they made you. You are what comes after. Kale stood silently as the message echoed through him. He looked at the fading stars and whispered, "Then the galaxy will learn what comes after." The old gods were retreating but not defeated. They had seen something in humanity that even they feared, and in the quiet after the storm the galaxy realized a new truth. The age of the old gods had ended. The age of humanity had begun. The galaxy floated in silence after the war of light and shadow. Only ghosts filled the void. Stars burned dimmer. Whole systems were missing. But from the ashes of ruin, one species still moved, still built, still dreamed. Humanity, Admiral Elias Kale, stood aboard the Dauntless, orbiting a quiet world that once belonged to the Galactic Council. Now, it was renamed Nova Terra, the first world of the new alliance. Beneath him, massive reconstruction cities glowed like veins of silver across the planet's surface. Everywhere alien and human hands worked together, Mira's voice echoed in his ear, tired but alive. The colonies are stabilizing, Admiral. Trade routes are opening again, and the Phoenix Array is operational. Kale nodded, though his eyes remained fixed on the dark horizon of space. Good, he said softly, but it's not over. Because Kale could still feel it, a whisper in the deep void, just at the edge of hearing. The old gods hadn't died. They were waiting, watching, remembering. Dr. Aaron Solis had left behind a final transmission before his ship vanished. It was found inside a damaged probe near Jupiter. Mira had decoded it just hours ago, and it still chilled her blood. "Admiral," she said quietly, "I've played the message." Kale turned. "What does it say?" She hesitated, then played the recording. The old scientist's hologram flickered to life. His voice carried the weight of exhaustion and revelation. "If you're hearing this, then the array worked," Solis said. "But you must understand, Admiral. Humanity didn't just defeat the old gods." His face darkened. "You replaced them." Kale frowned. "What does that mean?" he asked aloud. Though Solis was long gone, the hologram continued. "The moment the array reflected their power, it changed us. The energy didn't vanish. It merged with every human neural field within range. Every soldier, every pilot, every mind, connected for a moment." He leaned closer, eyes burning through the projection. "You didn't destroy a god, Elias. You became one." Mira's hands shook as the message ended. Kale said nothing for a long time. Outside the viewport, a dozen human ships moved in perfect formation. Too perfect, as if guided by a single will. Across the galaxy, strange things were happening. Human colonies were evolving faster than possible. Children were being born with strange instincts. Ships reacting before orders were given. Technology growing as if it had a mind of its own. "The power of the old gods didn't die," Mira whispered. "It changed its form." Kale turned toward her, his voice low. "It became human." That night, Kale stood alone at the observation deck. The stars shimmered faintly, distant and trembling. He remembered the voice of the old god before it vanished. "You are what comes after." Now, he finally understood. From the ashes of fear and war, humanity had risen beyond flesh and machine. They were something new. Builders, warriors, and now perhaps guardians of the stars. And the galaxy, once filled with enemies and empires, now looked upon Earth not with fear, but with reverence. Kale opened a transmission to all worlds, his voice steady and calm. "This is Admiral Elias Kale of the Terran Federation. The war is over, but the story of the galaxy has just begun. We are no longer who we were. We are the memory of what came before. We are the light that endures when the stars fade." Mira watched from the bridge as the signal spread through the void. Humanity's banner, blue Earth surrounded by silver stars, shone brighter than any sun. The aliens who once ruled now followed, not by fear, but by choice. And far beyond the rim, in the empty darkness, something vast stirred once more. But this time, the shadows did not bring dread, because they, too, remembered the voice that had silenced them. A human voice, strong, defiant, eternal. The galaxy was no longer ruled by gods or councils. It was ruled by mighty. Emery, By will, by fire, by humanity, the age of humanity had begun.